Okay, everyone, welcome to Sherm PTV. I have one of my longtime friends here, Angelique Jackson with Be Elevated LLC. Hello, Angelique.
Hello, hello.
How are you doing today?
I'm excellent. How are
Good,
you?
good. Doing well, doing well. So I've been following your journey for the past decade, and I love what you're
It's been
doing
that
right
long?
now. Yeah, it has, seriously. It's been maybe
Me.
longer than that.
It probably maybe it might be longer than that. I think
Yeah.
we met I think it has been longer than that. I think we met back in 2000,
Was it 9 or 10?
like maybe 8 or 9. Yeah, about
Right.
about that time frame.
And I honestly don't even remember how it happened, but here we are.
Uh,
I do not remember at all.
mm, mm.
Okay.
You know
So
what?
like,
No, I remember what it was. I remember we had connected, and it was the Rich Dad Poor Dad event that we both went to. It was like an investment event that we both
hmm
went to, and that's when we ran into each other, and we were like, "Hey, you're here too." It was in L.A.
oh my God. I remember one in Anaheim that I went to by
Yeah,
Disneyland. You were at that one?
I don't remember if it was that one or maybe it was Anaheim. It may have been Anaheim or L.A. But I remember it was the Rich Dad Poor Dad event.
Yeah, and the guy was talking about stocks the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay,
I have a
cool.
pretty good
So
memory.
right, 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 right. So what were you doing back then?
Back then, I was in the beauty industry back then. I was a regional sales manager. I had just come, yeah, I was a regional sales manager in the beauty industry then. Because I had just come back from living in Vegas at that time. And I was, yeah, I had just come back from living in Vegas, and I was getting ready to start. I was working at a school, and then I was getting at a university, and then I was getting ready to start another a business company, another beauty company. That's what it was.
Okay. Okay. So were you in like sales and marketing?
Yeah, I was a regional sales manager. So in the beauty industry, I was a regional sales manager, regional sales director. The last
hmm
beauty company I worked for, I was over 13 states. I was traveling constantly.
hmm
I was embedded in corporate America.
Right.
Yeah.
So so what got you out of corporate America to where you are now?
Whew, let's see. Well, originally, like when I was in corporate America, I was just that, just gun ho. I was said I was going to be a CEO. I was going to run someone's company. I remember when I was getting my degree as an adult, I said I was going to work for L'Oreal one day, and I did. I ended up working for a company called Mayleys, and then L'Oreal bought them out. I was their regional sales manager. And I kept going. And then once this last company, Jafra Cosmetics, when I worked there, the one that I was over 13 states, I was traveling like 15 to 20 days out of the month. I was constantly on the road. I have 3 kids, and I didn't always get a chance to see them. I had to take them with
hmm
me, so they started homeschooling. And then one day in 2012, I was in a car accident, and in that car accident, I found out I had cervical cancer. I found out that I had multiple uterine fibroids. And then a few months after that car accident, my company eliminated my position, and I ended up unemployed, and then having to
hmm
go a whole year of unemployment and then battling cancer at the same time. So, in the way that they went about it was shady and foul. So I said to myself, I said, okay, once I get back on my feet, when I have an opportunity to never have to work for somebody else again, that's exactly what I did.
Wow. Wow,
Yeah.
that kind of reminds me of my story. Like I got laid off from Wells Fargo as a processor.
hmm
And on top of that, it was just like I had my daughter that year too. And since I haven't been working for them for a year, I couldn't like take off. I couldn't get the parental leave. And
Uh,
so I had my daughter on Saturday and I had to be at work on Monday. And I was just devastated, you know, because
right.
I left my daughter and my girlfriend at the time at the hospital. You know, and
Oh,
then I just figured out that like nobody is going to care about you the way you care about you, you know?
no, not at all. Because when I worked for that company, it was almost like they took my illness as an opportunity, and then the way that they went about it was by saying, "Oh, we eliminated your position," but what they were really doing was transitioning over into the Hispanic market, and they wanted only bilingual people. I was not bilingual. So they could not tell me that they had to let me go because I wasn't bilingual. What they did was said, okay, we don't have this position anymore. We created a new position, and in this position's requirements, you have to be this, this, and this, and have these things. And so that was their way of getting rid of a few of us.
And so during that time, do you feel like you were actually like helping people?
I did feel like I was helping people because that was a direct sales company, and I worked
Hmm.
on the corporate side. So I was helping other individuals start their own businesses, be entrepreneurs, have another stream of income while I was sitting there working for the corporate side.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And so I was helping so many women to be able to achieve their goals. I would be able to listen to them because I traveled all the time. When you're over 13 states, I would go and do conferences and trainings and recruitment events. I would do product training and development and help them with their marketing campaigns and do all of these things that I kept asking myself, why am I not putting all of that effort into my own? And
Hmm.
the reality is like when I look back, was more so the fact that I've always been a serial entrepreneur. I always had a side hustle. So I always had my hands into other little things, but there was a certain comfort that I realized that I was programmed into because I was told you have to get a degree, you have to work for get a good job so that you can do all of these things in order to be quote unquote successful in life. And I was just running myself in the ground for somebody else. I was working beyond 40 hours a week,
Hmm.
especially when you're traveling that much. You're on the road all the time. And when you get home, the work doesn't end. You still have reports to send in. You still have to check on all your emails. You still have all of this stuff that you're doing to help someone else to achieve success that while you're only worth whatever they tell you you're worth.
Right. And so do you think that like while you were doing those type of activities, like those activities helped you transition to what you are doing now? Like basically like you gained a type of work ethic or learned a few more skills that actually help your business out into what you're doing now?
Yeah, I do. When I look back, because people always say, well, how did you transition from the beauty industry and working in higher education into what you do now? And I will tell everyone, everything that I have done has given me skills and information and knowledge that has helped me to be able to run my own business now. I've been running my own business since December 1st of 2017. That's when I walked away from corporate America. So everything gave me the tools and the stepping stones to be able to do what I do now.
Hmm.
Because in education, what are you doing? You're enriching someone's mind. You're helping them to change their lives to be able to shift into a better position, to feel more confident, to feel more prepared to achieve what they want to achieve in their career. When I worked in the beauty industry, in the beauty industry, when a woman has her hair done or when she has her makeup done and she's feeling good, she walks with a certain confidence. She's lifting her spirit. She's lifting up her self confidence. She's like tapping into a part of herself that she may not have seen before. And so all of those things is what I do now. What I do now, although I call myself a life alchemist because I'm not a life coach. I'm a life alchemist. I take holistic modalities in the whole self to help you to achieve the life of your making and in what you want to achieve in life. And so all of that has helped me to what I do now.
And what brought you into holistic healing? Because I know that's like totally different than what you've
Yeah,
actually done in the past.
it is. It is. So in the past, I was a salesperson.
Right. Exactly.
Sales and marketing. Like, let's get that hustle. Let's do this. Let's chase this. Then chase that bag. But what got me into it was my own experiences of my own health. And I always thought that I was healthy. I was like, oh, I work out.
Mhm.
I thought I was eating healthy. I thought I was doing all those things until that car accident, and I found out I had cervical cancer and fibroids. And I was like, okay, I don't understand. How am I having fibroids? I thought that was something for people who was like not taking care of themselves. And I
Mhm.
thought to myself, I thought I was taking care of myself, but in reality, I really wasn't. And so once I started delving into a lot of what it was that I needed to do, especially on with dealing with the cervical cancer, I was looking for other ways because they put me on radiation treatment. And when I tell you, I could not recognize myself. I didn't know who I was. I looked in the mirror and I felt like I was a shell of myself. I really wasn't seeing the embodiment of who I had always been. I wasn't seeing me. I wasn't seeing my beauty. I wasn't seeing my grace because I was in this cloud of like darkness and this cloud of why me and all of these things that I was putting upon myself, trying to figure out, well, how did I attract this into my life? And the reality is that I really wasn't paying attention to what my body and my spirit was telling me. I got
Hmm.
so caught up in my corporate career, so caught up in trying to be certain things because, I was married for a long time. And then when I went through a divorce and then becoming a single mom, I wanted to make sure that they were taken care of. I have 3 kids. I had to make sure that they were taken care of without having to worry about anything. And but at that time I was neglecting me, and so my body literally, and the universe literally said that car accident was a way of my awakening. It was the way of the divine to say, you need to slow down. You need to take a hard, deep look at yourself and start pouring back into yourself. And that's what I had to do. And I started back on my spiritual journey then, because I always meditated. I always did my prayers in the morning, but there was a part of me that was like just going through the motions and not
Mhm.
really tapping into the essence of it. And so when our body is out of alignment, when our body is in imbalance, when our mind, our body, and our spirit is not operating at its highest potential, it will manifest itself into either aches or something in your body that's going wrong, or something that a feeling within, or an emotion that you're starting to feel, where you're starting to feel like despair, or you feel disconnected from yourself or from source. And so for me, I needed to get back to that connection, not only with the divine, the most high, but also within myself. And as I began my journey and kept going along my spiritual path, that's what led me to my awakening of what my true gift is in this life, and what.
Oh, you went out. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? You went out a little bit. I can't hear you. Can you hear me? Oh.
Hear you.
Okay, now I can hear you.
Oh, okay.
Right. All right, now go ahead. I'm sorry.
But I don't know where it cut off at, but I realized that that's what I needed to do, was just get back to my whole self. And that's when I just started my path back, and I started looking at remedies and other ways of healing my body, my body tempo without going through what I went through with all that medication and that radiation and all those products that was given to me that just wasn't in alignment for myself.
Hmm. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty deep. You know, my sister had breast cancer, so I definitely like could understand. But yeah, I mean, like me knowing you in the past also like helps me to go back to like how you always looked and how you always were. And I would have never guessed that you would have had cervical cancer, you know. And I don't really think you let people know that back then, right?
I didn't let people know. I didn't let
Yeah.
anyone know, really. I didn't let anyone know because I didn't want anyone to pity me. I didn't want
Hmm.
anyone to look at me and say, "Oh, you can't do this," or "Oh, I'm so sorry," or anything. But what I really, because also it's like when I was going through that, some of the people who I thought were really good friends of mine were the ones who were not there for me. They were the ones who was like, "Oh, she's not
Hmm.
making what she was making. Oh, wait, we can't go hang out over here. Oh, she can't loan me money."
Right.
Those people who I was there for, who I thought were like really good friends, they started all falling to the wayside. And I realized that way I was looking at life was a bit different. And so I kept a lot of it to myself. And even like there was a part of me that happened like in that car accident, which I didn't share before and I'm sharing now with people, is the fact that in that car accident I found out I was pregnant as well at the time, and that I lost my child in a miscarriage that had occurred, and it was one of the most devastating things. And so internally I was holding that all in because I didn't trust anyone, and I also felt guilty, and I was telling myself that it was my fault because I should have. I kept saying I should have known. I should have paid attention. I should have done these things. And the reality is that I didn't have all the tools then. I didn't have all the knowledge then. And so because of that, how could I have known?
Hmm. Yes,
I,
because
you
I have recognized that people tend to beat themselves up for the
right.
things that they know now that they didn't know in the past, you know?
Exactly, exactly. And so now I'm at peace with that because now I look at it from a different perspective. And so my spiritual journey, my way of living now has a direct correlation to the fact that I went through all of those things. And so now I'm more tapped into myself. I feel more whole. I feel more aligned. I feel more like just at peace. Like
Hmm.
you can't shake my peace.
Right.
There's nothing that anyone can do to shake my peace, or there isn't anything that anyone can do to tell me who I am because I know who I am now.
So with you knowing who you are, and I actually mentioned this like a while ago. I was like, there's nothing anybody could tell me to break me because I know myself, you
Right.
know. And I would tell my daughter because like she would get mad because her cousins will be teasing her. You know how kids play.
Yeah.
And I told her I was like, do you know who you are? So why
Mm.
are you letting anybody else's words get to you to make you feel bad? Like you
Ex-
cannot let anyone else's words control how you feel or else
ex-
you're always going to be controlled, you know?
Exactly, exactly. And that's because those are those external factors that play into how we define ourselves. We allow other people to say who you should be when you already
Hmm.
know who you should be. You already know who you are. You already know this internally. So why allow what they have to say to affect you? I mean,
Right.
it's one thing when someone cares about you and they want to help you to grow, but it's a whole nother thing when they're telling you something that's out of alignment with who you know who you are.
Right. And with that being said, like, what is a divine femininity warrior?
Yes, because I do. I do the goddess circles, and so the goddess circles. So divine feminine, goddess warrior is really, it's all about, when you think about what is a warrior, like how would you define a warrior?
Let's say, how can I explain myself? No, someone that's like indestructible, very stern in their beliefs and what they have to do. You know, not necessarily someone that's aggressive, but someone
Mhm.
that's just like stands in what they believe in. You know,
Exactly, exactly.
especially if it's right.
Exactly. So when you know that your divine self, when you know your feminine side, and the thing is that we all have both feminine and masculine energies within us.
Hmm.
But when you're tapping into your divine femininity, your divine self, your warrior stance, your goddessness, it's about not what you adorn yourself with. It's about that tapping into your authentic self, that tapping
Hmm.
into your inner beingness, that tapping into your highest self to where you know without a shadow of a doubt of who you are, and you stand in your power, and you stand in your strength, you stand in your grace, you stand in your position of knowingness that nothing can ever break you
Right.
from being who you are, from your
Hmm.
purpose, from your gifts, nothing. So when you stand in that power and that essence, you're standing in your truth. You're standing in your grace. You're standing in your light. So that's what it. That's what the. That's how I see it. Now others may define it differently, but I see it as that, like your essence of your wholeness of who you are, mind, body, and spirit.
And so, when it comes to masculine energy, will you define it like the same way?
I would. It's the same way for men as well. And then I want to put out there as well, there are some men who have a little more feminine energy and some women who stand a little bit more in their masculine energy. And there's nothing wrong with that. But that
Hmm.
energy, whatever the warrior side of it, is standing in that truth of who you are, not standing in what someone is telling you you should be. There are some women who just have more masculine energy traits. They still have their feminine side, but they have more of this masculine power of that hunter mentality, or that go after what you want type of mentality. And so it's just about standing in that. So it's the same definition for men and for women. It's just knowing who you are and your true core essence. That's
And in what ways? So like nowadays we live in a world where like everybody is pulled in so many directions, right? And you could even have like a group of friends who you identify with. Like say me, like I went to Morehouse, I went to Crenshaw High, I went to middle school with kids from Watson Compton, and you know, I lived with white people, and you know, there's all of these type of things that could like well the environments that I grew up in contribute to who I am, right? And I could
Mhm.
like go to each and every place and kind of like blend in. So for
Mhm.
somebody like that, which I'm sure a lot of people do go through,
Mhm.
um, how can they find their true selves and their like core person to like who they really are?
Yeah. So like for me, I mean, I grew up in South Central LA. I went to Vanguard Middle School, well, Mark Twain Elementary School, Vanguard Middle School, Centennial High, and Washington High School. That's where I went. That's where I grew up. My
I
kids
did not,
grew up completely different. I
I did not know you went to Washington.
went to Washington, graduated from Washington. Back then it was Washington Prep.
All right, right,
Some of the generals, but
right.
graduated high school in 1990, and so it was like for me it was a little different. So people, when I tell them that that's where I went, that's how I grew up, they look at me, well, you don't look like you grew up there. You look like you grew up somewhere in suburbia or something along those lines. And I'm like, no, but I decided how I wanted to be. I didn't allow my environment to tell me how I wanted to be. And I give thanks to my grandmother, my nana, who would always instill in me when I was young. She would really open my eyes and expose me to all types of neighborhoods, all types of different cultures, with through books and through just going with her. And she would drive around and say, "Baby, there's more than what's in this bubble of our neighborhood.
Hmm.
There's more to life there's a whole world that's out there for you to discover. Don't ever limit yourself to just that one environment and think that that's the way, that that's your only way of surviving, or that's your only way of being, because there's a whole vast world out there for you. And so, because she instilled that into me, I always had this curiosity to learn and grow and know more. And so, because of that, I didn't let my environment define me. But to get to where, to understand like who I am, my
Mm-hmm.
authentic self, I had to go through different versions of myself. I had to go through different things in life to really tap into the core essence of me. And through that discovery of knowing like what am I passionate about, what makes me happy, what brings me joy, what is it that how do I feel when I am looking at myself? What do I see when I look at myself? And then once I started doing those things and really delving into who I am, I started to see my truth. And once I found my truth, I didn't let anyone take that truth from me.
Right, right. Wow. Yeah, that's pretty. That's pretty interesting. That's pretty deep. Because like I grew up in LA as well, and I know some of my friends like they never even left the state. They don't even want to get on the airplane. And when I
Right.
travel, and then like when I travel, well, when I went to school in Atlanta, I started to see things differently. And I'm like, wow, like not all black people are the same. There is a black middle class and a black upper class, and black people that are
Right.
firefighters, police officers, mayors. And it really opened my mind.
And that's why we have to expose our kids to more of those things, is because they don't
Yeah.
know outside of where the environment that they grow up in, or that they're growing up in. I look at my kids and they're like the exact opposite, because they grew up in predominantly middle class neighborhoods, areas. When I was married, we lived in Agora Hills, and so they went to Lindero Middle School. They went to school with predominantly white kids, and so for them, they had to find their connection back their to our culture, because it
Hmm.
wasn't, they didn't see that in the neighborhood. They saw the Jewish culture, they
Right.
saw white people, but they didn't really see a lot of us, and they didn't really have an opportunity. And when we would go around family, sometimes they would feel a little disconnected, even though I would teach them certain aspects of who we are. It's not the same as to being exposed to it within, being a part of that community, or being a part of a greater environment that
Hmm.
shows it. And so I don't know. It's just something that we as a community just can do so much more and better. They're a lot better now that they're adults, because now that they've been exposed to a lot more,
Hmm.
and now to the world, they traveled with me. They've seen more of the world, and now their perspective on life has shifted and changed a lot more.
Yeah, mine's definitely shifted traveling the world, especially outside of America.
Yeah.
I started I started to notice that like, wow, these people don't have nothing and they are smiling, like
Right.
they're happy.
Right.
People on the side of a dirt road like, hi, I'm like,
Hmm.
what?
Exactly, exactly. I remember the first time I went to Costa Rica, and we were ATVing through this neighborhood, this town, this community. And for me coming from California, it was like, oh, they don't have much out here, but they were just as happy and jolly. Kids were in the plane. We come by and they were smiling. They're like, hey, you
Right.
know. When we got off to, grab some water at the local stand, little kids were bringing us like flowers, and it was like, hi, I'm such and such. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And I was like, wow, that's so different than
Hmm.
what I'm used to, because what I'm used to is this hustle and bustle. We don't always smile at people. We just
Right.
go about our business and we're just like, okay, I'm gonna get mine, you get yours, whatever. That type of mentality. But there, it just felt so free and just at peace with what they have. And
Mm-hmm.
so, like, I've adapted a lot of that into just my sense of being. I said, well, how do I gain that peace? How do I get to that place of where I feel happy and am in alignment with what I have instead of looking at what I don't have?
Mm-hmm.
And so once I started being able to do that, that's when my life just opened up tremendously to where now I am the happiest I have ever been in my
Wow.
entire life.
And you live and she lived in the Gore Hills. I was I'm not sure if people understand, you know what I'm saying?
I know. For those who don't know where Gore Hills is, it's like right by Calabasas and Westlake Village. So out there where like the Smiths live and the
Right.
Kardashians are there and all that. So yeah.
Yeah, I was like, and it's pretty interesting because, like, there were times in my life where I made a couple 100,000 a year, and like I was just living a lifestyle, and then I
Mhm.
started to notice that like this really doesn't make me like happy and fulfilled. Like I feel like
Right.
I could give more to the world based off of what I know and the type of person that I am. Because
Exactly.
like I would always do things just to make money, but it was like I'm not doing anything to make myself happy with my work or what I'm doing.
Right.
Like,
Exactly.
and
Exactly.
especially when I was selling insurance. You had your life insurance license before too, right?
I was working on it, so yeah.
Yeah.
After a while going through those courses, I was like, you know what? This is
Yeah, it
not
is a
for
lot.
me. This is not for me. And I was like you. I was like, okay, this is gonna make me money. Let me try this. Let me try that. But at the end of the day, I was like, I really do not like doing this. I don't.
Mhm.
And so it was like it was just like, what is it that makes me happy? I had to really ask myself, what am I chasing? And before it was like I was chasing money. Yes, I made six figures. Yes, I had a good lifestyle. But my mentality about it and my emotional stability or balance was not in my highest good. I wasn't always happy. I
Mhm.
smiled. I had the look and the life, but I would go home and like I have all these things. I mean, I lived in a 3,500 square foot home, and it was just like
Right.
after
You
a
really
while, like, okay, I got it.
hey,
Now
I
what?
lived in a 3,500 square foot home too, and I started to notice like there were places in the home that I never even went to.
Right.
And
Yeah.
I was like, all I do is go to the kitchen and the living room. But I
Yeah.
have like all of these other places. I'm just like, man, what am I doing?
So I had to ask myself, like, what is it that I really want in life? How do I
Right,
define success for me? How do I define happiness for me? How do I define my ideal life? Not the life that society says to you, because society will say, "Oh, this is the look of success,"
right,
but is it? It's the look of your success, but it may not be the look of my success. What
right.
I realize about me is that one, I'm a free spirit. And my nieces, they always say, it's like, Auntie, you're a gypsy. You get up and you just go. If you feel like you just ready to leave a certain area, you get up and you go. She's like, how long are you going to stay where you are now? Because now I live in Pacific Palisades, and they said that they really like the area, but they were like, how long are you going to stay?
Yeah, let's not get on. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
but
move. I move almost every year.
yeah, that's what it feels like. But what I
Hmm.
realized is that that spirit in me wasn't so much of the environment. It was that I love freedom. I love the freedom to go as I please. I love the freedom to choose to do what I choose to do. And because of that freedom, I said, well, how do I create a life to where I have the kind of freedom that I need so that I'm happy? So when it comes to my income, I wasn't in control of that. It
Right.
seemed like I was, because I was working and I had these great positions and I was head or a director or something along those lines, but I wasn't in control of it
Mm-hmm.
because they could let me go like they did in that one instance when I worked for L'Oreal. And L'Oreal actually took very good care of me, but in that time I worked for L'Oreal, the whole economy took a dive, and so they had no other options but to downsize.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like, although you think you have stability in certain areas, you don't always have it. And so I had to ask myself along the line, like, how do I create the life that I want where I'm free? And I've always had an entrepreneur like desire. And so I said, I'm just going to go full in, go all in. I have the knowledge. I started prepping. I had money saved and I had the things. I prepared myself to be able to be an entrepreneur, and then start building from there. And not only look at one stream of income, but also look at various aspects of how do I create the life that I want and that I
Mm-hmm.
need, but also keep myself to where I'm emotionally balanced, I'm spiritually balanced, I'm physically balanced, and then so that I can create that life.
Right. Now, let me also tell you, you probably are like one of the most humble people I've ever known in my life.
Oh, thank
Like, I'm like learning a lot of things about you, that I didn't know. And like, you were just like looking at me like, probably like, oh, I'm gonna just help this young kid. And
you.
also, like, you're one of the reasons why I have IMDb credits too.
Really?
Yeah, you actually like got me hired to be a personal assistant for this
Oh,
movie called The Great Divide, and then the director put me in a scene in that movie too.
really?
Yeah,
Oh,
and that was off of your
that's
connection.
I appreciate that. Well, because I believe that when I believe in helping each other. I believe in helping humanity. I believe in helping my brothers and sisters. And I believe that when you have tools and resources and when you have the knowledge, you're supposed to share it. You're not supposed
Hmm.
to try to keep it to yourself. I want to see you succeed. I want to see everyone succeed. There is no competition out there because
Right.
the universe is abundant. there's there's too much vastness of opportunity out there for us to feel like we have to compete against one another. We don't.
Hmm.
And then when you give more, you receive more. So I feel good when I'm able to help someone make a connection, like, this is what you want to achieve. Let me see. I have somebody. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, but at least I'm able to connect you with a source that gives you
Yeah, that's facts.
that.
Facts. And then also there was one time, thinking like 2010, 2011, right?
Uh-huh.
When my ex-girlfriend was just like tripping on me so hard. And then for some reason I was talking to you about it and you was just like, is she Latina? And you were just like asking me all of these questions, what she was, Latino and black. And you were like, well, they are kind of spicy and this, and that. And then you were like, let me talk to her. And you got on the phone with her for about 20 minutes and you really calmed her down, you know? Because I
Mhm.
was going through, I was like, man, I don't know what's wrong with her. She's going crazy. But you like really took some time out of your day, like, let me talk to her. And
Yeah.
then like now, like me remembering that and me looking at, the way you're helping so many women now
Mhm.
and knowing that you went through that car accident and you had cervical cancer, I'm looking at it like, damn, it's like God or the divine or the most high was leading you up to exactly where you are now.
Yes.
You
Yeah.
know, and that's kind of eerie to think about. I'm just like, wow, it's like, like who would think that like God would be like, you know what, get in this car accident, have this,
Mhm.
have that, go through this. All right, now be who you are, you
Yeah.
know?
But we have to go through these things sometimes because how can you help someone get through something that you haven't gone through yourself?
Right.
how can you speak on something that you have not done yourself? It's like me saying, oh, I opened this book and I learned how to trade, but I've never been in the stock market.
Mm-hmm. Right.
You know, so when I look at my past, I don't look at anything that I've gone through as anything negative. I look at it and I give gratitude to it, no matter how devastating it may have been at that time, and how I may not have understood at that time, but now I understand that our creator, you know, most high, was preparing me for where I am at now. And I give thanks for that. I give thanks for those lessons. Every relationship I've been through is preparing me for the revealing of the one that I'm meant to be with next. I know that every obstacle that I've encountered has prepared me for that understanding of what I need to do to prepare for the next level or the next stage or next evolution of my life, because we're constantly evolving and we're constantly growing and we're constantly shifting. We can
Mm-hmm.
either shift with it and ascend and evolve and grow, or we stay stagnant and then we're stuck in the mud, so to speak, and being unwilling to allow ourselves to blossom, that we don't see the beauty that's within us, and then we end up in despair.
Mm-hmm.
So everything that we go through is for divine reason. We don't always
Right.
understand it, and we don't always have to understand it. We just have to trust it and continue to move forward.
Right. Right. And the tough times also do not last. So speaking of that, like, say if you went through something again, you know, like in the future, how
Uh-huh.
will your mindset be with what you know now, like moving forward? I
Oh,
say if something drastic happens,
yeah.
like, how do you think you will react?
I think I will react a lot differently because my mindset has shifted so much over time. And then through my spiritual practice, through my daily routines and walks, and through just my way of being, my mindset is at a point that um, I will be able to adjust to it much quicker, and I'll be able to move forward with whatever it is. Because I know, let's say, for instance, everything, the rug was pulled up from underneath of me and I lost everything again. If that were to happen, okay, I already have the blueprint. So I just
Mm-hmm.
need to get myself back up and just go right back to it.
Mm-hmm.
So
That's
my
good.
Yeah. So for me, my mindset has shifted to not dwelling in anything, or not, oh, woe is me, or not wishing that I had changed or wishing I had done something differently. It's more so now I look at it and I go, okay, I know that this happened. What are the lessons, and how can I apply it to moving forward and into my future and make something even greater? Because sometimes things are removed from us not to punish us, it's removed from us to prepare us for something greater. And
Right.
so I know that my evolution in life, like if I stayed in corporate, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing now. So that corporate position, although I was successful, I was limited to just that role. Now I'm in control and I'm being prepared for something greater. I mean, there are things that's coming my way that is preparing me for something much bigger. And I have full belief that that I'm meant to be and do much bigger things in life than what I was doing before. So now I'm
Mm-hmm.
in a state of surrender and allowing versus resistance and control.
Hmm. Hmm. That's interesting because, like, I see people like their success goes leaps when I feel like they feel that they're doing something that they love, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I've seen people go from like, oh man, like say one of my guys, Butter, right? He just like started a group of people just running at the beach like 2 to 3 years ago. Like we just all got together and we just ran together, right? Next
Uh-huh.
thing you know, like a couple months ago, he's in the music video with Jay-Z and Pharrell, like singing the song,
See? You
you
see,
know,
you
and I was just
I
like,
know.
damn, you know. Yeah, and like he's sponsored by Nike and he has all of these events and he started small and I was there. Like I would meet up with them every Saturday to just go run on the beach. He didn't ask for money, he didn't ask for nothing. I mean, he probably really didn't even care if you bought a T-shirt from him. He just
Yeah,
did it for the love. Just like wanting to help people. And
yeah.
next thing you know, like I feel like he's more successful than he's ever been. You know.
Yeah, it sounds like it. And that's where success, that's why I said that you have to define what success is for you. Like for me, being successful is knowing that I am able to help others to achieve and be in their wholeness, to be in their grace, to be in their power, to see their light. I see their light. I want them to see their light. And so when I help a woman, a queen, to be able to really stand in her power and see that within herself, that is success to me.
Hmm.
I feel good. I feel happy that I was able to be a guide along their path of their growing into themselves, into their wholeness.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see that being very fulfilling for you. 'Cause I
Yeah.
feel like you would do that just anyway,
I,
but then
I
it's just like,
will. It's just natural. I've been like that my whole life. My
right.
my sisters, my brothers, like you've always been that way your entire life, and so they said it's no surprise to them that I'm doing what I'm doing now. The only difference is like maybe some things in my life have shifted a little bit more. I am more on a spiritual path than I was before,
Hmm.
um, but the core essence of me, my foundation, my way of being is always is who I've always been. It's
Okay,
who
and
I was meant to be.
right, right. And so, what kind of services do you provide?
The services that I provide is I do one-on-one coaching, group coaching. In addition to, I do goddess circles and workshops. I have retreats coming up next year in various different areas. I do holistic wellness, and what that incorporates is like energy healing, sound baths, meditation, helping you to be able to identify the things that's blocking you. So I do that through understanding and reading your chakras, how to really balance your chakras, how to go into a state of meditation that's beneficial to you being able to heal the things that's blocking you. Because there's three things: there's your barriers, your blocks, and your blind spots within our life. And our chakras, when they're out of alignment, from our seven chakras, we actually have more, but most people know that we have seven chakras.
Is it 13?
Yeah, it's about 13. There's a lot more, because there's, and we can go into a whole lot.
Okay.
Because the
Right.
chakra system is so incredible, because they're the energy vortexes that's within you. And so excuse me. So you start off with like your root chakra into your sacral. Oh, give me a second. Let me drink some water.
That's okay.
But so you start off with your root chakra, which is your base and your foundation. And then you go into your sacral chakra. Your sacral chakra is located like right below your belly button, above like your bikini line or whatnot, or bathing suit line or underwear line is right there. And then you have your solar plexus that's right above your belly button into your heart chakra. Then you have your throat chakra, your third eye, and your crown. And each chakra represents a certain aspect of who you are. And it also allows you to see, like, if a certain chakra is blocked, then you can essentially see an area that's an area that you need to work on. So if your solar plexus is blocked, then you know that there's something going on with you, either emotionally or physically, such as, like, let's say that your confidence is low. You want to figure out, like, what is it that's blocking that chakra from being in balance? What is it about you? Why do you not feel confident about yourself? What is it that is holding you back from your light? And then there's like your heart chakra. You know, you have those things in your throat chakra that has to do with like your communication. And communication, a lot of times people are blocked in their throat chakra, not necessarily because they can't speak to other people or they're not able to articulate themselves, but sometimes they're blocked in their throat chakra because of the way that they speak to themselves, the
Mm.
way that their lack of being able to express their truth. And so we'll get blocked in that area. And then there's certain aspects that we can do. And sometimes our chakras will let us know if there's something going on with us physically. So maybe you have a thyroid issue or you have something that's going on there that you want to take a look at. And you'll know if, because sometimes you can ask, like, are you having anything like physically that's happening or something along those lines? And it'll help you identify that so that you can bring yourself back into balance. And so chakra points are very sacred, but at the same time, it's something that is very beneficial to understanding about yourself so that you can balance that and you can activate certain aspects of your chakras to put you into alignment with your wholeness and with alignment and discovering like what is it that your purpose in life, what is it that you want to achieve.
Hmm.
So
Yeah, that's pretty interesting. And you
yeah.
also do Reiki healing too, right?
Yeah, so like crystals and Reiki, but I do it all in the aspect of more so in the crystal and sound bath healing. So
Hmm.
vibrational healing with with energy healing and the chakra points versus Reiki. So Reiki, I do some aspects, but I'm not a Reiki master as of yet. I'm more of a energy master in terms of your chakras, your the sound healing with like with the sound bowl. So like this crystal sound bowl
Hmm.
that's here. And then and each sound bowl is aligned to like the vibrational frequency of the sound bowl is aligned to the vibrational frequency for your chakras.
Wow, that's interesting. You remind me of of like say when I listen to West African drumming, like I feel like it does something to my spirit, you know?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Like
Because
I
uh-huh.
feel like I'm like going to war, you know, like say if I'm about to go to when I used to go to the gym, well I
Mhm.
still go to the gym, but I would play the West African drumming and I'll just be pumped up, you
Yes,
know?
yes. There's something about like that drum circle because it's that vibrational frequency. So when
Right.
you're vibrating at a certain frequency level, it raises your energetic vibration. So we
Mhm.
have an energetic field all around us. Everything is energy. Energy is all around us. It's a matter of tapping into the highest level and highest frequency so that you feel in alignment. And so when when the drumming is at certain frequency levels and as it elevates, your spirit is just connected to it because that's your chakra points, that's your inner beingness, and that's your highest self saying, yes, this I'm feeling this, and you're in that zone and you're in that vibration, and your vibration, your whole body shifts. Like it literally will shift. You will feel completely different. So, like you were saying, you felt more pumped up and you felt more alive and you felt like, oh, I can conquer anything.
Mhm.
That's that energy that we tap into. So, like, for instance, when I do goddess circles, like shamans, ancient, like indigenous people, we have been doing this, they have been doing that for eons, you know.
Mhm.
So it was a part of our culture, it's a part of our way of being, it was a part of our way of living. And so we got away from that for a while. Now we're tapping back into it. So in ritual, we have our sound bowls, we may have like a gong, or we can have this right here is a rain stick or drums. You know, I have a handheld drum, a shaman drum, and that's all so that we tap back into that highest vibration of our core essence, of our spirit, so that we are operating at the highest that we can operate. When we lift our vibrational frequency, we're lifting everything else within us, because our vibrational frequency, when it's vibrating low, your energy level is low, your mindset is low, everything that you do feels out of alignment and you feel disconnected. So when you connect to that highest vibration, you're able to achieve and attract so much more.
Hmm. Yeah, that's interesting. Think I'm gonna just wake up and listen to it, like like make like a morning ritual where I do something when it comes to sound, but I really need to buy like a traditional drum and just like start drumming in the morning,
Yeah,
to get
that,
the real sound instead of with
that,
speakers.
all of that definitely works. So to think about like, let's see, like if you hear that has a deep resonance to it, very
Hmm.
grounding. So like when you're grounding yourself into like a meditative state to connect you with your roots, that helps you to really get in a state of calm, a state of grounding, a state of peace, and a state of alignment and oneness, so that you can reconnect within yourself, so that you
Hmm.
can bring yourself back into a state of wholeness. Um, Sound frequency is great for, let's say that you are experiencing anxiety, or if you're experiencing some type of emotion that's out of alignment, it helps you to come back into a state of alignment.
Hmm. Okay. And so, can you give me a testimony or like someone else's testimony on how your services affected them?
Oh my
You don't
God.
have to say no names, but
Okay.
it's general.
um, let's see. There's a couple. Let me see. I'm going to pull up a few because I've received some recently that has been, it's been pretty, impactful. Let's see. There's one where, let's say, like my circle, the one that I just did, the goddess circle I just did. And in that, she sent me a testimony, and her words were, this was the first time that I felt connected to myself. This was the first time I felt like I was able to let go of the things that were really holding me down, the things that were heavy, the things that brought me the things that brought me tears on a daily basis. She said she felt alone. I felt disconnected. I felt like I just wanted to leave this world and I didn't want to be here anymore. But you helped me to see that there's so much more to me. And this was the first time I felt connected to a community and to others, and as if I wasn't going through life by myself. Thank you for what you do. Thank you for being who you are. And I can't wait to do more work with you.
Wow.
Yeah. And then
That,
there was another one where she said that the circle was mind blowing and that she received so much healing that she never felt before. And then there was a mother and daughter at another one, and I don't have it in front of me right now because she actually wrote me a letter. So that was
hmm.
special to me when I get a handwritten letter. And so she wrote me a letter, and she said that I was able to help her to see her daughter, really see her, and that their relationship is so much better, because before she didn't understand her daughter and her daughter didn't understand her. They were going through so much turmoil. They were constantly fighting. They were constantly bickering. They were constantly like on the verge of just saying that they hate each other. But I was able to help them to heal what was it that they needed. She didn't know her daughter was going through some of the things that her daughter had gone through, and her daughter was too afraid to share what she was feeling with her mom because she thought her mom would judge her. And her mom admitted the fact that she would always judge her. But in her mom's view, her mom thought that she was trying to prevent her from making the mistakes that she had made. But what she was really doing was tearing her daughter down even more because she was being too harsh and too stern and too judgmental. about the way that she was living her life, as opposed to listening to her and really seeing her. She was just looking at it from her own perspective. She couldn't see her daughter's perspective. And her daughter could not see the pain of her mom's past traumas. It's what was showing up for her in how she would communicate. And once they understood the way that they were communicating with each other, I was able to help them to communicate better so that they could have a better relationship. I worked with that mom and daughter for about 6 months, and it took some time, but they are so much better now. They sent me a picture recently of the two of them where they were cooking together, and they said they had never done that before.
Wow. Do you do services for men too?
um, I have been asked, there are certain services that is for men or for women. That's the energy ones, like the meditation, the sound baths, those things, the chakra alignments, that's for men or for women. I
Mm-hmm.
am starting to put together a circle for men that is the divine masculine warrior, so that you can tap in, so that men can be with each other and tap into that essence and heal the things that they need to heal, so that they can be in alignment in their highest self. Because here's the reality: if you're walking around unhealed, if you're walking around not addressing your past traumas, not addressing the things that's blocking you, not addressing the stuff that is a part of who you were, who you of your past, if you can't get past that, you can't operate in your highest self. You can't, you just can't, because it's always going to sit and continue to move into your life subconsciously in some kind of way. It'll show up through when people say, oh, this triggered me. Well, it triggered you because you never healed from it.
Mm-hmm.
And so those are the things that we need to do. So these healing circles, which are the goddess circles, the warrior circles, is healing at the same time of activating. So I will be doing men circles soon.
Can you let me know ahead of time so it won't get sold out?
Yeah. I will definitely let you know.
Yeah, I'm sure I have a couple of guys that'll be interested in that.
Good. Let me know. I'll let you know, because I'm looking at February of launching it. I'm just finalizing some aspects of it, because I know that from a woman's perspective, there's things that I know. And then I'm partnering with another friend of mine that from a man's perspective, there are things that from a man to man, only a man to man can really communicate. And so, and then eventually I would like to do both men and women together, so that we're able to strengthen our union, our bonds, and our communication with one another, and heal our community, so that we're solid, that we're unified, that we are thriving within our households, that we're thriving within our communities, and that we're no longer looking at each other from a negative standpoint, but
Right.
looking at the kingdom in you and the queendom in me,
Right.
the
When both of
God
those
in you
energies
and the
combine.
goddess in me. Huh?
Right. I was gonna say when both of those energies combine at once, it's gonna be powerful, you know?
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes. It really and truly will be so powerful. So, so I've been doing the goddess circles for about a year, a little over a year now, and they've been growing tremendously. And now it's time, because I've been asked by men to, like, when are you gonna do something for men? I see you
Hey.
there with all the
Hey.
women.
Sir, don't leave us out.
Yes.
We do get left out a lot though. You know, we need
That's
something too.
that's what I was hearing, and I don't want our men to feel like they're left out, because we need you and you need us. It
Hmm.
takes both of us to really build and rebuild, and to really grow and evolve and heal. Now is the time, in this shift, in this awareness. Like 2020 has gone through. We've gone through so much in 2020. We've
Yeah.
gone through a tremendous a lot, a tremendous amount. But 2020 is our revealing, our clarity, so that when we're ushering into that next stage of our evolution of our lives, that we're fully prepared for it. So
Hmm.
I want us to be so prepared, so fully aligned, so balanced, so that we're standing in our wholeness and in our grace, that there is nothing that can knock us down.
Yeah, I heard next month, like between December 21st and 23rd, that something's about to happen.
Yeah,
That's what I've been hearing from my spiritual people. They're like, man, you got to get ready.
you
Something
have.
powerful's going to happen.
There is some powerful things. I mean, just look at the planetary shifts that's happened. Look at the alignment. Just, I don't know if it was last, I think it was last night, where the moon and Jupiter and Venus was in a perfect triangle within the sky. And that doesn't happen that often. We've had more anomalies in terms of planetary shifts that in alignments and and where they form these sacred geometries within the sky and the constellations that it than ever before in this year alone. And
Wow.
it has a direct correlation to what's happening down here on Earth, because it's all energy.
Mm-hmm. Wow, I know that's a lot that's been happening for me. I lost
Yeah,
a lot of people this year, but hey.
we have, and that's when we honor them, you know. So getting back to our roots, getting back to our core assets, getting back to um, that understanding of ritual, that understanding of what ritual really is. You know, ritual isn't, because sometimes people want to correlate ritual with being ungodly or witchcraft or something along those lines. No, that's not what it is. Ritual is something that taps us back into the connection with the earth, with the elements, with ourselves, with our communities, and with the Most High, with Source, with our
Right.
Creator. So ritual is important. I mean, if ritual wasn't important, it wouldn't have been the first things that we did, and you know, when life began.
Yeah, I mean, people do rituals and they don't even know that they're doing a ritual,
Right.
like
It,
communion and praying every time before you eat.
those are all rituals, and we do
Right,
those things to honor that. So ritual is really honoring the divine, honoring source, honoring
right,
our sacredness, honoring our lives, and honoring not only ourselves in the physical world, but also honoring the spiritual world and honoring our ancestors as well.
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting, and it is a lot.
It is a lot. It's a lot. It's so much. It is so much. I was reading this book that because I love to read. I love to understand other cultures and understand other like with spiritual beliefs. So I was reading this book that talked about like the correlations that between the different major religions. And when you really look, I was reading like there's like certain passages, and each one of them, when you read them next to one another, all said the same thing.
It's pretty interesting that you say that because, like, I have an African Babalao. Like, well, he practices. I think, God, I don't want to say the wrong thing because I know he's from Cuba. I'm not sure if it's Santeria or Ifa or whatever, but my
Probably
Ifa, yeah.
most
So
probably Ifa.
and he gives me consultations, right?
Hmm.
And he told me, like, Sherman, don't cut your hair, don't cut your beard, don't go around dead bodies, and also don't drink. And I was like, oh, okay, whatever. And then one day I was just watching the movie Samson, right? And
Hmm.
so I only thought that Samson was just like a guy who was strong because he had long hair. But then I figured out that he also couldn't go around dead bodies or touch a dead body. And he also couldn't drink. And then I was just like, my Babalao told me the exact same things,
Yeah, yeah,
and then I started to realize that, like, man, a lot of this stuff is connected, you
it's
know? And
connected.
it's like one of the reasons why in the Nation of Islam, because I do have some background with them, right?
Hmm.
So you know, your last name is your slave name, and
Mhm.
your first name is your God-given name, right? So that's
Mhm.
why you have Malcolm X or Lewis and then Farrakhan or such and such and Muhammad, right? And
Mhm.
so he told me when he does his readings, he does his readings with the name that you were given at birth, because that is your like divine name. And
Yes.
I was just like, wow, like the Nation of Islam says the exact same thing, you know?
Yes. Yes. That's what it is. I remember because I wrote down a couple of things. Like in Christianity, it says, ask. There's a passage that says, ask and it will be given you, seek and you will find, knock and the door will be open. And that comes from the Gospel of Matthew, right? But then
Right.
you go into, let's say, Buddha, it says, listen avidly to and cherish the way which is called mighty, which is the exact same thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's the exact same thing. It's telling you all the exact same stuff. Or what about in Christianity? It says, "Be aware of that which is right in front of you. Then you will be able to grasp what is out of your sight. For there is nothing hidden that will not be known." And that comes from the Gospel of Thomas. In Buddhism, it says, do not dwell on the past, do not dream of the future, concentrate the mind on the present moment.
Mm-hmm.
We're saying the same things,
Yeah.
just in different words. It's the same essence. In Krishna, it says the unreal never is, the real never is not. Those possessed of this knowledge of truth know both of these. And that comes from, in Krishna. And
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and I can continue to go on, like in Taoism, and then in Hinduism, and then when you really like delve into it, every religion has a foundation that was born out of another religion.
Mm-hmm.
Buddhism was born out of a foundation of Hinduism. You
Right.
know, that was born out of a foundation of something. So everything was born out of something. Then every last one of them are mystics in a way, because they all
Yeah.
spoke about your spiritual self from mind, body, and your spirit from
Right.
within, you know. And so, it's fascinating. So, like when someone, so that's why we have to acknowledge and keep ourselves open to being able to respect someone's beliefs, and say, and try to come from a place of understanding why they believe in that. And then instead of trying to say that, well, your belief is wrong. I think too often we're looking at things from a negative standpoint as opposed to an understanding and a growth standpoint. We want to tell someone or that is wrong or that's not the way, as opposed to saying, I see that that works for you and that you're growing and evolving and it's helping you to be a better person.
Right.
Yeah.
I totally agree because I researched a lot of religions. You know, I've been to a Buddhist temple. I'm Muslim, but you know,
Mhm.
I'll still go to church, and I even like read the Satanic Bible. But I was also like, you know, like I have to know all of these things, you know, before I even judge. You know what I'm saying? Because I
Exactly.
feel like we judge out of ignorance, and we say a lot of things out of ignorance. You know?
Because we don't know and then we fear the unknowing. And so that also goes back to like that concept works within ourselves. It's like you have to delve deep into who you are on all levels, the good, the bad, the ugly, all of it. And then really be able to understand the core essence of who you are.
Hmm.
And to really be able to connect to your wholeness and your strength, because like holistic healing has four aspects to it. So whenever someone asks me like, what is holistic healing or holistic wellness, or why do I call myself a life alchemist, is because I'm looking at the whole self. I'm not looking at just one area of your life, because I can help you with one area, but your entire life is not going to be the way that you want it to be. So when you think about like the four aspects, you think is spiritual, mental, emotional, and physical. It's all of that. So it's how you feed your mind, how you feed your spirit, how you feed your emotions, and how you and what you put into your body, how you feed your body. because what we eat has a direct correlation on the way our body reacts. What we feed our minds has a direct correlation on how we think and how we perceive things. What we say to ourselves, what we feed our thoughts, has a direct correlation to the emotional aspects of what we're going through. All of it correlates to one another. So,
Mm-hmm.
how are you feeding yourself? How are you nurturing yourself holistically, mind, body, and spirit?
Yeah. And so there's a lot of work you have to put in for self. And I
Yeah.
feel like that gets ignored, because I'm an
Yeah.
avid, gym goer. So I go to the gym a lot and people like, oh man, I'm like, bro, if you watching TV or if you watch a Netflix show, you
Yeah.
could like not do that and go and take that time to go to the gym and you will be okay,
Exactly, exactly. It's all about how you pouring it, how you pour in your time, and
Right.
what you do. So, I just want everyone to be their best self, to be in complete alignment with their highest self, to be happy and whole, and to feel free to without feeling as if they have to put on a facade. Life is too precious to go around being something and someone that you know that you're not,
Mm-hmm.
living your life in the shadow of your divine self. Nobody has
Dang.
time for
Right. And you
that.
never, for real though, and like this year I have learned you never know when you're gonna leave this earth.
You
Like
don't.
we all want to live a long life and have great grandkids, but that may not be a reality. So it's like time is like very precious.
Time is precious.
Like
Time
after
is,
yeah, and like me losing my childhood best friend this year at 33, yeah, it really had me think of things differently.
yeah, yeah. I mean, because
Like
you think about that question, there's been studies that says what is the top thing that people say right before they die, and is they always have certain regrets in life, and one of the regrets is they wish they had lived their life the way that they wanted to.
mhm,
So why wait until you're 1 foot in the grave to do that? You can start living the life the way you want to right now.
right.
You just have to
So
make that conscious decision to say, now I'm going to do it.
So speaking into existence with conviction, right?
hmm Speaking it into existence with conviction. So, like manifesting, because people always say, well, how do you manifest? Or I say my affirmations and I do those things and nothing ever manifests for me. Okay, well, saying it is one thing. If you're only going through the routine of it, and you're not connected to it, the really connected to the belief of it, then they're just empty words. They're just empty thoughts because negatives cannot attract. So if you are speaking from a conscious state and saying, "I am, I am abundant," but then from a subconscious state, you're thinking, "Dang, I sure do lack a lot." How can you attract? You can't. You
Mhm.
cannot attract when you have opposites that way.
Mhm.
You cannot then have a growth mindset and have a lack mindset at the same time. You can't be worried about bills and think that money comes to you always. It doesn't work because you're canceling it out. So you have to have a complete belief in what you're saying and what you're speaking and allow it to unfold in its divine timing. Not try to have control over it, not trying to move it the way you feel it needs to move, but having complete faith and belief that it is already done.
Hmm.
Knowing that abundance is all around us. Everything that we desire is all around us. If you want it, it is there. So it's visualizing it, having it in your mind, having a complete vision, and not just visualizing it in your mind, but feeling the emotions of it. So let's say, um, I, for example, I remember when the Chrysler 300s came out. I wanted that car. And it was nothing that was going to stop me from getting that car, because I was like, I can see myself in that car. That was when
Mm-hmm.
the new model came out and the whole new redesign, and they were calling it like the baby Bentley or whatever. And
Mm-hmm.
I said to myself, and I told my friends, I said, that's going to be my car. And they were like, oh, you can't have it. I was like, you just watch. I saw myself in that car. I felt that car. I knew that car was mine, and there was no doubt in my mind that it would not be parked in my parking in my garage. I saw it in my garage before it was there. I felt the it before it was there. I knew without a shadow of a doubt that it was mine. So I wrote it down. I would meditate on it, and then I released it, and I said, I know that it will be mine. I will have that car within a month. And within a month, I had that car.
And so be it.
And so be it. And so it was. and,
Right.
that's what it is. It's like, and then I have friends that ask me, how do you always find these great places where you live? I said, because I know when I walk in, if it's a place that I want to live, I claim it as mine. I said, this is mine. I know it's mine. No one else belongs here. The energy here is mine. This place is mine. It's for my family and I, and that's all there is to it. So I walk out and I say, I give thanks, and I say, well, thank you. Like where I'm at now, um, I mean, yeah, I live in Pacific Palisades, but I don't pay what these folks around here pay.
Mm-hmm.
I don't. And that's because I said I'm going to live in the Palisades because it's closer to my clients and closer to things. I was living in Orange County before, and I didn't want that commute anymore. So I said, I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to, I got out my car and I said, I'm going to park my car, and I'm finding a place today that I will be moving in the first of the month. And sure enough, I came in, I walked in, the owner said, I like you. If you want it, it's yours. Just fill out the application. I'll take a picture of your driver's license, send me your credit report, and then there you go. I sent it to him that night. The next day, he said, so you want to move in this week?
Damn. So hold on. So you just parked your car and started walking around
Yes.
and then it was like, oh, this is open. Like it was like that.
Yep.
That
Just
is
like that.
amazing.
Just like that, because I knew that I would find a place, and I put it in out there in the universe. I said, and I gave gratitude for it before it came. So I said, well, thank you for the home that is here within the Palisades. I give thanks to you. I'm grateful for it to be in this range, this price range. I give thanks for the space. I give thanks um, for where it is. And so, and left it at that. I wrote it down, put it on a piece of paper, and put it in my pocket. And then I
Mm-hmm.
started walking around. And then I saw a couple of apartments. I went to one that was across the street from where I'm at now. And then I came here, called the number, and he said, oh, I don't live far. I can meet you in an hour. I said, perfect. I'll see you in an hour. And then here you go. I told my kids, I was like, okay, I have a place. And they were like, see, mom, I don't know how you do it, but you do it.
That
So
is
that's how it,
amazing.
yeah. So that's how it works. I mean, especially when you're so tapped in and tuned in to yourself, and and you have that conviction and that belief on all levels, from a conscious and subconscious level. There is nothing that you cannot do.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing you cannot bring into existence. When I started my goddess circles, I said I used to do them just for like family, because my kids and I, we do rituals all the time. And so I said, because I have friends like, well, you should bring this to the public. And I was like, oh, I don't know. But then I said, you know what? Yes, I do. Thank you for that. Thank you, Spirit, for speaking through my friend to tell me what it was that I needed to do.
Right.
And so I put myself out there and I did it. And then there you go. So, and it's grown ever since. Like the first circle had, the first circle I did, I was going through the rites of passage with Queen Afua to become a sacred woman. And then with my sacred sisters, I did the first one with them. And it was probably about 6 of us. Then I did one to the general public, and it was probably about 6 or 7 that came to that one. The next one had about 4, but then after that, they just started growing. So the last ones, like the ones I've had on the beach, were anywhere between 30 to 40 women that showed up, and the ones indoors can be anywhere between 20 to 30 women that are showing up. And I'm being asked to now go to different states to facilitate these circles. And this is all that has transpired in less than a year.
Wow. So you guys, so you're about to be back at your old job almost, huh? but but doing what you love.
But doing what I love. And that's the beauty of it, is because
Hmm.
I love traveling. I love going places. I love being able to affect change in women's lives, in people's lives. I love, truly, truly love what I do in every aspect of it. I love getting up in the morning and saying, wow, this is my life. This is what I'm doing. This is what I'm achieving. And I mean, I have other things that I do as well, but for the most part, this is what I do. This
Hmm.
is my passion. This is my gift. But
You are very blessed to feel that way. Seriously.
thank you.
I mean,
I
so
feel
but you know, like people never ever get to that point in their life, you know. So
mm-hmm.
that's really a blessing.
Yeah.
Wow.
It took a lot of hurdles and things to get to where I'm at now,
Hmm.
but I didn't lose belief. I have a complete belief in where what I need to do and what I'm meant to do. And
Right.
everything was given to me so clearly. I just needed to have myself open to receiving it. So the moment that
Hmm.
I said I am open and I'm ready to receive the knowledge of what my purpose and gift is exactly when it all unfolded for myself.
Right. Right. And it was the core of what you already like to do anyway,
Yeah,
right? It's
that's
just like
cool.
really finding that.
Yeah. And typically, that's usually what happens when you find what your true purpose is usually the core of what you have always been and what you've always done throughout
Hmm.
your life. But
Yeah,
you
there
recognize it.
and there's a book that I read called Find Your True North. And
Mhm.
the book actually states that, you know, a lot of people like what they've wanted to do as a child is basically something that they should do as an adult. But like somewhere life gets in the way and breaks them away from that, you know?
Yeah. Because a lot of times what happens is life will get in the way. Things that we didn't think about or that we didn't plan for gets in the way. Maybe an illness, or maybe you got taken off track, or maybe something happened that took you out of that state of innocence of knowing. Because
Hmm.
as children, think about when you're a child. When you're a child, you have no fear. Like really,
Right.
you really don't fear things. You will climb a tree, and even though people, that tree's too high, you're gonna hurt. You will climb a tree, you will do whatever because in your mind it's like, no, I know I can do this.
Right.
And along the way, we get programmed to say, no, you have to be in this box. You have to conform this way. You have to live your life in this manner. And so we start to indoctrinate ourselves into that. And then we lose sight of our inner child. We lose sight of our childlike thinking and belief. And we start placing limits on ourselves.
Hmm.
And it's those limits that takes you off of your path of your purpose. So
Right.
no more limits. I know I'm limitless. There are no limits. How can we think that there's limits in life? I don't even
Hmm.
say the phrase, the sky's the limit, because that's a lie. The sky is not the limit. There's
Right.
so much more beyond the sky. There's so much more that happens because if you limit yourself to the sky, you're only limiting yourself to what's there within the sky. And in the skies, there's clouds and there's beauty and there's all of that. But once you peek your head above the sky, there's a whole vast universe out there.
With millions of galaxies.
Exactly, exactly. So how could we think if we come from source, how can we think that we are limitless? We're not. We just have to open ourselves up to seeing the vastness that we are and that waits before us, and grab
Hmm.
it.
Wow. It's a very interesting concept. One of
Mhm.
my favorite songs by Biggie Smalls is "Sky Is the Limit," but
But when you think about, I mean, really think about that.
yeah,
Because
you're
we
right. You're
know
right.
the sky's the limit. And
You're
that's
right.
the thing.
And
And
then
the,
a lot. And then a
uh-huh,
lot of times, like we grow up hearing, especially me, like I always grew up hearing what I can't do,
mhm,
when I was to have an idea,
yeah,
and one thing that I always wanted to show, especially like Black people and my people, is
mhm,
that we could be who we are and still
mhm.
achieve these great things.
Yes, yes, we
Because I
can.
feel like, because like, say the way you're dressed now, right? Someone might have these judgments about you, and basically, like, they'll sum up your whole life based off of your appearance, and then
I
you just gonna sit back and be like, "What? I got my MBA." Like,
know.
what are you talking? What you talking about? You know what I'm saying?
I know. And that's the thing, is like people will sit there and go and have all of these assumptions about you. They'll create a whole scenario, a whole character profile of who you are without even knowing anything about you. And
Right,
that's the limit in and of itself. We don't get to know people, like truly get to know people. We either show up with as a representative of ourselves, not our true self, or we're asking you to be who we think you are, as opposed to seeing who you really are. And then that translates into all the confusion and the chaos and things that happens between us when it comes to communication, relationships, and
hmm,
everything else, because we're not seeing and accepting people for the truth of who they are. We're wanting them to be who we think they should be, or we're looking at them and we're assuming who they are. Like some people will see me and will say, "Oh, I bet she's stuck up." But like you said, I'm like one of the most humble people. I'm very humble. I don't
yeah,
have those type of thoughts. Like I don't walk around thinking I'm better than anyone else. I just don't, because I know that everyone I come in contact with is a divine reflection of me, and I am a divine reflection of them. We are reflections of each other's past, present, future. So why would I judge you when you are a reflection of a part of me that I may have been before?
right, exactly. Exactly. And I do feel like some people come into different trains of thoughts and like knowledge, and then they start condemning other people that don't know what they know.
Right.
And
And that's
that's like,
where we have to stop that. We have to
mhm,
really stop the judgment of that, because it becomes hypocritical.
right,
We'll say, well, we want you to understand us, but I'm going to judge you. I'm going to put you down for not having the knowledge I have. Well, here's how the universe works. The universe works to where when you have certain knowledge, the universe is going to bring people to you so that they can gain that knowledge from you,
right,
so you can help them to grow, not to put them down, not to say anything, but to help them to grow as well. Because they're coming to you for a reason. They're
right,
coming into your life for something, a reason of some sort, either to test you or to help, or for you to help them to be more knowledgeable and to help them to grow and be better. So we're supposed to share our knowledge. We're not supposed to keep it to ourselves. That's
hmm,
not what we're supposed to do. I mean, imagine if the Vatican released all of that knowledge that they have.
locked up in the dungeon.
Right. What's the
Yep.
so once we become and get to a place of sharing and fully seeing people and saying what, or asking them, I know that you don't have this knowledge. Is it something that you would be interested in? Here's a book. This is what helped me to get started.
hmm
Help them get on that journey.
Right. And there's
Don't
always room for improvement too. And
always.
like, yeah, because I had a talk with my friend today, and like, basically I did something that he wasn't, well, he just didn't feel right about something that I did. And I was like, bro, like, I appreciate you telling me that, but you also have to understand that like I'm not going to look at things the way you look at things, you know, and I have my own lens, but I will take this as a learning lesson for the future on
Mhm.
how you perceive certain things, you know.
Right. Yeah. So that is a learning lesson. Here's the concept that I'm always thinking for myself. I am a constant student of life.
Right.
Sometimes I show up as a teacher, but I always show up every single solitary day as a student of life. So I welcome the knowledge that comes to me. I welcome the things that I don't know because it helps me to grow. I don't know everything. I know what I know now, but I don't know everything. And I look forward to just being able to learn from others that have the knowledge that I do not have. So
Right.
once we get to a place of that type of mental way of being, it lets a lot of stuff go. You'll start to be more at peace with yourself and with life. We're not supposed to be walking around as if we're superior to others. We're supposed to be walking around to be of knowledge and of help and of resource to one another. That's how we grow as a community.
Mm-hmm.
That's how we thrive as a community. You know,
Right.
so and that's what I want for our community, especially for our people. I want us to thrive because we were built to thrive, to
Right.
grow, to really like be greater than than where we are right now.
Right.
So much greater. I mean, when you think about where we come from.
Yeah, I mean that usually brings about the best kind of people, but
Mhm.
I feel like our, you know, we're just too controlled and our mentality isn't really where it should be. But then also learn, you know, that a lot of times things aren't going to change in our lifetime, but as long as we're doing our part, you know, down the line, something may happen. You
Yeah,
know, like you may spark a mind now that's going to change the world in 500 years. And
exactly.
what you told this one person, you know, is gonna like go down to this person, this person, this person. Because like I was thinking back, like, man, there's people that told me something on the plane, on the train, you know, like all of these random places that really affected me till this day, you know?
Mhm.
And I'm just like, wow, like that person probably, I wouldn't even know how to contact that person, but what
Right.
they've told me impacted me. That's probably going to impact someone else. So I
Mhm.
just feel like as long as we're positive, if we continue to uplift people, speak life into people, and it could be anyone, you know?
Be anyone. It could be anyone. And that's what, and it starts with speaking life to ourselves. So
Right.
speaking that words of power to ourselves, really charging within, because sometimes what happens is we don't speak that into others because we see a lack within ourselves, and there's something within us that we have to really acknowledge and work on and heal. And so once
Hmm.
we're able to do that, then we move out into being able to help others and be able to speak that life into others. And then they speak, and before you know it, it's like that ripple effect. When one pebble hits the water, it starts off as a small ripple, but then it expands and it grows and it continues on.
Right.
So be that pebble.
Right. Right. And it's crazy because like the people that told me things were like white people in the South, like when I was living in Atlanta. So it really shocked me, you know, because in
Wow.
LA, excuse me.
Bless you.
Thank you. Because in LA, like we're very segregated, you know, and I really didn't interact with white people like that, but it
Mhm.
just amazed me how one of my English teachers told me, like, Sherman, I'm going to be glad to say that I known you one day. And I was looking at him like, what? Are you serious? You know? And it was just a big shock to me that someone would even say that. You know, because my thought was like, okay, this is older white dude, white hair. He's
Right,
probably racist. You know, we're in the South, blah blah blah, you
right,
know, but it kind of like broke my whole mode of like being prejudiced, which is prejudging people before I
Mm-hmm.
even like get to know them, and like I was on the martyr train. And even this white lady was like, "You could be successful one day," and I was like, "Huh?" Like, it was just random, and it was so unexpected. And I was like, "Man, it's like we really have to just break, how we perceive certain people and the
Yeah,
most, because like you may be blocking someone that could give you, a
right.
step forward."
Exactly, exactly. So that is definitely like some of the things that we have to do, because once you break that prejudice thinking, once you break that mold of prejudging someone, you'll find that you can learn so much more, and it'll help you to grow so much more.
Hmm.
I remember like when my kids and I, we went to Canada, and then in Canada it was like the first time that we had experience where people would get up and say, "Oh, we're going to let you go ahead and sit down." And we had got lost at one point, and we were standing on the corner. It was myself and my three kids, and we were just standing there like, I don't know where we're supposed to go. How do you get to this shuttle, this bus or whatnot, or this location? And there was this couple that was walking their dog, and they came over to us and they said, "You guys okay? You seem like you need to find location." And we were telling them where we were trying to go, because we had our like our little map thing. And she said, "Oh, all you have to do is go over here." They walked us to the bus stop, talked to the bus driver. The bus driver was like, "Oh, don't worry about it. We got them." The people who were sitting in the seats in the front got up and said, "Why don't you guys sit here so that you can hear the driver better and be able to go. And then enjoy Canada. Just enjoy." We were in Vancouver. And I was like,
What?
and we sat there and we were like, we're like poor black people standing on the corner, and then all these little, you know,
Yeah, shit, man. It's
them to even go and take the time to do that was eye opening for us.
right.
And it was like it was just a surreal experience. My youngest daughter and I spent a summer in Paris in 2018, and we lived in Paris for that summer. And in that time frame, it opened up her whole mindset and my mindset on just life and living life in its fullest, because there it was just such a incredible environment and culture where they would dance by the river and they would picnic on the grass, and they were just everything was just so calm and laid back. And there you saw people in suits riding their bikes to work. I'm like,
Yeah.
to work, doing all of those things. So it really like opened up our eyes, and even to see like the Black community when we were there, the way that they interacted and the way that they went about life and how they saw life was just so different. It was so elevating. They talked about their travels and how, because there you can hop over to Europe, you can just
Hmm.
go places very easily. And a lot of them would go to like Dakar or Senegal, because a lot of them lived there. And so they had dual residencies between France and Senegal. And so they just go back and forth, and their way of life was just so like free,
Yeah.
and they're just living it abundantly, just living it just happy. I mean, we saw couples like at midnight just laughing in the streets and dancing and holding each other's hands. And I remember we were at by the Eiffel Tower, and it was this older couple. They had to have been 80.
Hmm.
And the husband grabbed his wife's tush and was like, "You still got it." And he was like, "Dance with me." And they just started dancing in the park. And I was just sitting there like, wow, I have never seen anything like that here in
I
California.
love Paris when I was out there. Oh my
Right.
God.
So
Yeah.
so eye opening. And so, but before I went there, I had people say, "Oh, Parisians are mean, and you're not gonna like it out there. It's a horrible city. It's all these things." If I had listened to their judgments of it, I would not have been able to experience it myself.
That's true because like I took my wife with me to, well, yeah, she was my fiance at the time, to Paris, and we went inside this restaurant, right? And as soon as we walked in, the guy was like, "What do you want?" And
Uh-huh.
so we were just like, "Oh, we want to sit down and eat." And so we just sat down. He gave us the menu, and he was just standing there like, "Okay, what do you want to eat?" But
Mhm.
then, after a while, we started to notice it, like, this guy doesn't even speak fluent English. Like, he's trying to communicate with us the best way he knows how. And
Right.
other countries, they don't sugarcoat anything. They're not like using different words to soothe you and stuff like that. It's like very direct. And
Mhm.
then after a while, it was like, oh, this guy's pretty cool. And he was joking with us. We were having a good time. But then I was like, what if I just would have been like, oh my God, this guy is rude. He just asked us, what do I want? He's
Right.
racist. And I would have, I could have took that and just walked out.
Out and missed out on that experience. And that's something you bring up, a really interesting point. It's like the cultural differences when someone is learning our language and we're learning theirs, and they don't understand the translation that isn't always the same.
Not
So
at
they
all.
may be saying, what do you want, thinking they're asking you, um, what would you like, but we take it as, oh, you being aggressive, you being
Right.
rude right now.
Right.
And so we automatically go into this defensive posture, as opposed to looking at it like maybe they just don't know what they're saying.
Right.
Maybe they're not under, if their English is low, because I can tell you, I don't speak, I do not speak French. We learned a little bit, and but the thing was, it's like, for what we did know, they were being very accommodating. Like, there was some of people that we would come in contact with did not was not able to speak English at all. They really tried, and so they would have someone else come. Or I remember we had this one waitress, and she started like pointing to things like, well, maybe this or that, to try to communicate with us. And
Right.
so that helped us to really understand that sometimes we go into situations with this prejudgment based off of a limited experience, and we let that define our entire experience, our
Hmm.
entire life, and we let that stay with us and stick with us, and that becomes the narrative of that area. Whereas I know people who have said, I will never go back to Paris. And so, well, why would you deny yourself another opportunity to see Paris for the beauty of it? Why are you limiting yourself to just the negative? Go
Right.
again. Maybe this experience will be different.
Right. Exactly. That's an interesting point because, like, when I went to Paris, I didn't know French, and then they were just like, "Why?" And this one guy asked me because we had Google Translate, and he
Uh-huh.
was like, "Why would you come to Paris and you don't understand French?" Then
Hmm.
I started to notice that, like, a lot of people out there do not speak English,
They don't.
and I just thought that, like, well, damn, England's right there. Like, I thought that y'all learn different languages out here, but I was like brought back down to earth. It's like, man, like, like the way you look at things, and the way you go about it, and your conceptions could be just like totally false.
Mm-hmm. I know.
Totally false.
It could be. So that's just lessons in life in general.
Yeah.
That's lessons in life with, think about like our relationships with people, the way that we communicate with each other. Sometimes we decide that we're not going to interact with a person because, not because we know them, but because someone else said that, oh, they're horrible, they're this, they're that, as opposed to getting to know them ourselves. Or we take a position on something without researching the position ourselves.
Right.
We go based off of what the masses is telling us, instead of looking at what is it that I have learned from it. Let
Right.
me investigate. I mean, we live in a society of social media where it's like, I'm just gonna pass this information. Oh, I saw this posted on a friend's, I'm gonna pass it over. Did you research that information? Do you
Yeah.
know if that's true or not? Before you
Shit.
just started reposting and spreading whatever it is, do some research within yourself.
Yeah,
And
but we
trust.
definitely gotta stop saying I heard. It's like, go
Right.
see it for yourself.
Good for
Because
you.
like I'm a big fan of the show Narcos, and I watched the one with Pablo Escobar, right? And it was like a lot of violence in Medellin in Colombia,
Uh-huh.
and like something happened where me and my cousin were supposed to go to the Dominican Republic, but
Uh-huh.
something just told me like, why don't you just go to Colombia, Medellin, you know?
Uh-huh.
And people were like, why the hell would you go there? And blah, blah, blah. Like, it's violent, all that stuff. And they were just thinking about the show. And, it was
Uh,
the cocaine capital of the world.
right.
And I went there and I was like, this was probably one of the best trips I've ever had in my life. Like, I
Oh.
love it. And my
See,
cousin, it was his first time going out the country. And
uh-huh.
he was just like, man, like, I will really try to move here. Like, it was
See,
just gorgeous.
we have to stop limiting ourselves, you
Yeah.
know. And I remember you posting about that. I remember reading that post because you had a picture in front of where was it? It was a picture, I think, where it where he stayed or something like that. I remember you sharing something about that, and I was like, see, that's the way that you're supposed to live life. That's how you have to go for yourself and experience it for yourself, and not like I recently went to Mexico to Tulum, and people were like, oh no, you're not going to Mexico. You can't go to Mexico. You know the drug dealers and everything else, and they're just snatching people up. I had a great time.
Right.
It was a beautiful experience for me. It was something that from a spiritual standpoint I felt connected to a different, like, to that indigenous roots. I felt
Hmm.
connected to um just myself. There was just something about Tulum that just spoke to me. And but if I had listened to other people, I wouldn't have experienced that. That's why I encourage my kids. I said, go out and live life. My youngest daughter, she made the decision that she wants to move to New York. She has never been to New York, but that's where she's feeling led to go. And so people were like, oh, you're going to let her go to New York by herself? And I'm like, she's 25.
Let her. That's
Let
funny.
her, right. Like, I see, and that's, but as a parent, like, of course, I care about my daughter. I care about my kids, and I want to see them happy, and I want and protect them. But sometimes we become too protective that we actually limit their or stunt their growth. We have to allow them to explore who they are. I don't tell them what to believe. My spiritual beliefs may not be their spiritual beliefs. My way of living my life is may not be the way that they choose to live their life. And I'm not going to limit them by saying, no, you can only do it this way. No, that way may be my way. So now I ask them, how do you want to live your life? How do you see your life unfolding? They're all very different, but they're all very talented in everything that they do. So I want them to find what it is that they're passionate about and go after that. Go in so that you don't wake up one day and say, I wish I had done this. I wonder what my life would have been like if I had only taken that risk or that chance. So with my daughter going to New York, I'm like, if that's where you feel that you want to go, I'll go with you, help you get set up, and then you just go ahead and live your life the way that you choose to.
That's good. Wow. Yeah, I did that at 19 when I moved to Atlanta. My parents were very supportive of it,
Yeah,
and I just thank God that they were.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Because I
It's
was 19 years old by myself, didn't have no family out there, but they were just like, my dad did help me get set up. But after that, I was on my own. But it really helped me like develop, my character and who I was. And I got a lot of time, away from LA, which actually has most of my identity. And once
hmm
you leave from like who you like an area that basically identifies you, you really start to figure out who you are.
You're such an incredible person. I mean, from the moment that I met you, you've just been like so, like, our conversations have always been like so in depth and just so you're so open minded. And so I've never felt any type of judgment from you. Like, you have a drive and a determination, but you also have a gift in for life. You have a gift for and desire to know more and to grow. And so I just want to honor you and honor that. And I've seen you like being a father now to just this whole transformation into your highest self, and you're still growing and you're still learning,
Mhm.
and you stand in that. And so I honor you for that. Keep doing
Thank
what
you.
you're doing, because you are a light to others who's seeing
Right. Thank you. And I really appreciate that. And it
you.
did take a lot for me to like understand that about myself. And that's why I have this podcast right now, you know. Just
Yes.
yeah.
I'm so happy for you. So happy that you made this leap and you've decided to do that. I mean, because you have a tremendous amount of knowledge to give, from entrepreneurship to investing, all of those type of things. There's just so much. I mean, like when people ask me, they see me. Yes, my main career is my business with spirituality and life coaching and all of those things. But I also do like investing. I also trade the forex market. I do other aspects. So it's like there's so much more to us than
Right.
than that. So just continue doing what you're doing. Continue to rise. Continue to speak freely. Continue to spark conversations, because you have some incredible conversations and thoughts that you post, and I am grateful for you for doing that, because that's how we evolve. That's how we continue to grow as a community and as people.
Thank
So
you.
yeah.
Thank you. I'm glad you see it that way, you know, because some people call me a troll, but but I really just try to spark, thought. You know what I mean? Like instead of because I feel like a lot of people are just going on one train, and I'm just like, hold on, well, have you thought about this or have you thought about that? And then
Yeah.
I've also learned that like not everybody is going to agree with me, and that's okay. And I could also say something, and one day it might be a mistake, and that's okay.
Mhm.
But then it's like there's some people that's gonna get offended, but then there's some people that's gonna just like look at it like, wow, or they
Yeah.
might but I mean, I may not know about it. Like I figured that like some people just keep things to themselves. Or I'll
Yeah.
see them one day, be like, man, I really be digging what you be saying. And I'm like, what? I would have never guessed. So with that, with that being said, I just continue
Yeah.
to be myself.
Exactly. I've had people that have DM'd me like, I've watched your growth. I've seen you over time. I've been watching. I'm like, you have?
Right.
You never commented on anything. But they would say, well, how did you get to where you are? Because you look like you are in at so much peace in your life. I want to gain that level of tranquility, that level of just being happy in my life. And I said it took time to get there. And I say, here are some of the tools that I've used. There's so many tools that are available to us. It's just a matter of how are you utilizing the tools and why you're using the tools. So it's
Right.
not enough to just use the tools, but you have to understand why you're using the tools for you.
Hmm.
So so we just have to continue doing what we're doing, continue to post what we're posting, continue to push each other out of these comfort zones that we have been in, because we're not meant to be in comfort zones. Comfort zones do not grow you. It's
Right.
discomfort that grows you.
Right.
Yeah.
Definitely. Definitely. Okay. So with that being said, how can people contact you and what's the best way to contact you?
They can follow me on Instagram at Be Elevated Now, which is BELEVATEDNOW. Or you can go to my website if you want to book a session or a consultation or something along those lines. You can find out about upcoming events. You can go to my website at beelevatedllc.com. Um, and my email address is ajackson at beelevatedllc.com. So those are the best ways of contacting
Okay.
me.
Good, good. All right. So look, I want to thank you so much. Like you have always been somebody that I looked up to, seriously.
Wow. Thank you. I
Like,
appreciate that. I'm honored.
yeah.
I'm
And you
honored.
And you still look the exact same from when I met you 10 years ago. And I don't know how you do it.
That's that holistic life. I'm telling you, it's that
Yeah,
holistic life.
for real.
Especially now that I'm vegan, I've been vegan for the last 4 years now. I live a very clean, like I have a very clean diet, so I've gotten rid of sugars and a lot of the stuff that just isn't for my body, and I feel like the best. So I am what I say I am. I am who I say I am. What I teach is what I do. Every morning I meditate. Every morning I have prayer. I do. I honor my ancestors on a daily basis. I have ancestral altar. I have my spiritual sanctuary. I have my journal that I write in on a daily basis. I go and I hike often, exercising, and I read a lot. I don't watch a whole lot of TV, but I read a lot. Or if I do watch TV, it's usually like a documentary or something along those lines, or movies too. But
Hmm.
I like to just stimulate my mind in learning more about other people. And then those are the things that I do to keep myself feeling and looking as youthful as possible, especially because I'm that close to 50. I turned in 49 in April, and then next thing you know, it's gonna be right there.
Oh, right, right. We both are Tauruses. I remember
Yeah,
that.
yes, we're
Yeah.
both Taurus. Because you're April too, right?
Yeah, April 29th.
That's right. I was gonna say the
You're like the you're the
23rd,
26th or something? 23rd?
23rd. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I remember coming to your 40th birthday party
I remember that. Yeah.
at the casino.
Uh-huh. That was fun. That was definitely.
Damn.
I know, right?
Oh my God. Okay.
Time time goes by, so we've known each other for a long time. So my
Yeah,
50th, I said I'm spending it abroad. That's how I'm spending my 50th.
I heard
So,
that. I would do it too.
yes, I can see myself. I don't know, living kind of a digital nomad life sometimes, like just
Oh
getting
yeah.
out and living in Mexico for a couple of months and then maybe going somewhere else for a couple of months. But, I'll always call California home. This is where I'm born and raised. So it will always, always be home to me.
Hmm. Wow, I would love to do that because I love like out, just getting out the country, seeing other cultures, and then just like my main thing is just like I just fall in love with other places. Like
Mm.
the food tastes different, the people are
That's what
different.
it is. I know. I'm like, why does bread taste different in Paris than it does here?
Oh, totally
But the
different.
croissant was completely different. I'm like, okay, I can never have another croissant in California because
Uh,
it's not the same as it is there.
And the way they do crepes, oh my
Oh
God.
my gosh, yes.
I
Yeah.
don't even like saying crepes because it's like you cannot get a crepe like like it is in France in the
I
United
know.
States at all. Like no matter how hard you try, it's like, but then I just think about I'm like, these people are just on the streets making it, It's
I
like
know, right?
it's
They
not even a big deal.
just
It's
left.
like you could go to like this guy over here, this guy go over here, and it
Right.
all like has the same consistent taste.
I
But then
know.
I go to a restaurant out here and I'm like, this shit is trash. And it's
Right.
a fancy restaurant too. And I'm just like, what is going on?
What is going on? That's like gumbo. Like when I lived in Biloxi, Mississippi, we would go down to New Orleans and have gumbo. But then I would go and have gumbo out here somewhere. I'm like, this is not gumbo. I don't know what that is, but that's not what that is.
Right. And
So,
that's why it's important to travel and go see things for yourself and
mhm.
actually like, go to where things originated at.
Exactly, exactly. So, if I were to just leave people with one thought, it would be to one, really take a like sit down and just sit with yourself in stillness and just kind of look to see like what is it that makes you happy. Ask yourself some hard questions about like if you're looking for a relationship, instead of saying when will my soulmate arrive, ask yourself, am I my own soulmate? do I love who I am? You know, and then and then from there start discovering the things that bring you joy, the things that bring you happiness, the things that internally sparks your flame. And before you know it, you'll start magnetizing everything that you desire to you, because you're standing in your wholeness in that moment.
Hmm. Wow. And you're leaving everyone with that.
Yes,
Let that sink in.
let that
Okay. Well,
let that
again,
yeah.
thank you so much. And I really look forward
You.
to seeing you in February.
Yes, yes.
Right. Yeah. Don't think I forgot.
I know you're not, because you told me to do it too.
All right.
I will definitely do it. So there's a space, the space that I held the goddess circle just this last time in Inglewood, I think would be a good space for holding that for men as well. And it will be done.
Okay.
It'll be done.
And if you need any help looking for
Maybe
locations, you know I got you.
I know you do. So send them my way, because I'm always looking. I'm always looking for different locations and different venues, so that we can, because not everyone can make it to Inglewood. So I would like to be able to go to various different locations to help and accommodate all that
Okay.
we can, to reach as many people that we can reach as possible. And we
Okay.
have to do another event together. So there you go.
Oh yeah. Yeah. That one was nice though.
Yeah.
Actually, that event is still my LinkedIn picture, like
Oh, it
the
is.
pictures I took there. Yeah.
Nice, nice. See, we have to do another one, because it's that time. It is that
Right.
time. So I appreciate you. Thank you for having me on your show. I am so proud of you and all that you're doing. And I know that I'm getting ready to I have another Zoom call right after this with Black Lives Matter. So, because I work and do activism work too. So,
Mm-hmm. Okay.
yeah.
Well, tell them I said hello.
I will. I
All
will.
right.
It's all about mental health. Yeah,
Right.
yeah. So thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
Thank you.